Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady viewing at home, thank you all for tuning in to another weekly edition of Sports Talk. It is Kinetic Aesthetic. I'm your hostess with the mostest, the man they call Jeremy. And with all that being said, let's get into it. There has not been a lot to talk about this week outside of the NBA, which is what we're going to be focusing on. The first round of the NBA playoffs has just wrapped up, so I want to get all into that. Aside from that, there's really not much else for me to even really speak on. Stephon Diggs has a trial that for assault from his chef that is in the news right now. That's going crazy, but it's really not worth me talking about. Stephon Diggs is just sort of weird, so I don't really have too much I even really care enough to say about it. So, with all that being said, I'm going to just jump straight into it. Like I said, the NBA playoffs have wrapped up the first round, so we're going to be previewing what's going to happen in the second round. But first, I want to go over everything that occurred in the first. Starting off, we had the Pistons and the Magic series, 1 seed against the 8 seed. This shit was crazy. I still don't know how Detroit was found themselves in a position where they were down 3-1, but they were able to overcome it. Game 7, honestly, ever since they went down 3-1, you have to give a lot of credit to Cade Cunningham because this nigga just started showing out. He was averaging 32 a game. He was doing whatever he had to get those wins. Like Orlando was putting pressure on him, and there was not a lot of help coming around from the other side from anybody else on his team. But Cade Cade shined through. He showed why that team was number 1 seed and why he was an MVP candidate. And honestly, he deserves a lot of credit because it really was all going through him. Like, of course, Detroit, they had they had to really overcome their own. They had to really overcome a lot. Orlando did fuck themselves up by missing 23 straight shots, which is fucking insane. But again, this is they just reverted back to the means. I mean, Detroit, I'm definitely not on the bandwagon of them being a true contender at this point. I've definitely given up on that aspect of it, but they deserve a lot of credit. This is a team that has a lot of promise, and it might not be their year this year, but if they continue to improve, I'm all in on them. I like Cade. He's really fucking impressing me this playoffs right now, so I've got nothing bad to say about him. Now, moving on, we had the next series. We had the Raptors and the Cavaliers. This was one that I did not think was going to go to 7 games. I definitely didn't think that the Cavaliers would let it get this far. But this is sort of what you expect from a team that is, you know, I know they're number 4 seed. I know that last year they were number 1. They had a lot of stuff going for them, but I just I don't see them as a team that's going to really move the needle. I've been saying it for the longest time. When you get into a position where you are banking on James Harden at this point in his career, to really be your playoff X factor, you're not setting yourself up for fit. You're not setting yourself up for success. You're not setting yourself up for long-term playoff success. And it might not have bitten them in the ass this round, but I just don't see them getting past the next round at all. I think that, when you have Donovan Mitchell and James Harden sort of just going MIA at different times, or you just have games where neither one of them is really getting it done the way you need to, you can't really bank on that. Those are your two top stars. I know that Cleveland has a little bit more than that. It's not just two people on the team, but I felt like if they're having this much trouble with the Raptors, and the Raptors are impressive. Scotty Barnes had a great series, so I don't want to undermine them or sound like I'm giving them not enough credit. But the Cavaliers shouldn't have let that series get to 7. If you have two guys who are supposed to be what they're supposed to be, I think that's a series that you should be able to take care of a little more easily. So I personally have no real faith in the Cavaliers going into this next round, and I've lost whatever faith I had in them going into the playoffs period. Up next, we had the Knicks who went up against the Hawks. This was one that I had a lot of time, had a hard time really trying to figure out how it would go. And at the end of the day, I think it just came down to the Knicks have the experience. You've got Brunson and you've got everybody else on that team. Cat. This is a team that I want to say right next to Philly and Boston. They are the top 3 when it comes to just those playoff cores that have experience, that sort of know what their identity is and what they're trying to get done. Brunson is Brunson. He's an offensive dynamo. He's just going to be guaranteed to be the major cog in that offense for New York. So it's really going to be interesting to see if he can continue up this pace or if he just ends up getting tired, which is definitely possible. But still, I like New York. I like what they have. They've got depth, and I still don't know if I'm going to pick them against Boston or against Boston if it came down to those two teams. But I still really like them over. I like them more than Philly, and I definitely like them more than Detroit. But we'll see what happens with New York. I'd say right now they are my pick to come out of the East. Now, the last series and the one that has honestly been the most shocking to me because this was a team I was most sure about being able to like I would honestly say being the best in the conference was the Boston and Philadelphia series. Philly won 4-3. Game 7 was crazy. Jason Tatum didn't play in Game 7, which definitely played a part in that. Also, before I go on and I talk about Philly and everything they got done, Jaylen Brown, I don't know what is going on in your head, but this the delusion of you coming out there and saying that you think there's a conspiracy theory against you and all this other shit. No, 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 no. It's just really weird that Boston. It. I'm not a Boston hater, but I also am like somebody who I think they've definitely gotten their fair share of championships. So it's just really aggravating for me to hear a player from that team, from that city, try to complain about the refs being out to get him or a conspiracy theory or shit like that. Like, no, man, you guys just lost. It wasn't your year. I'm not gonna overly be critical of them because I think they're still a very talented team. They could easily be here next year, but when it really comes down to it, y'all just shot yourselves out of it. You were going crazy on the three ball and it wasn't hitting, and now you all are going home. I'm still not the biggest fan of Tyrese Maxey moving on to the 76ers. I'm still not the biggest fan of him and the way he plays. I don't know what it is about him. I feel like I don't like him because I feel like he jacks up a lot of shots. But he was able to get it done. Embiid came in, did what he had to do, and as long as Embiid stays healthy, they are a true contender. I think most people just have gotten to a point where we don't expect him to stay healthy, which is why people are so quick to count him out. But they did what they had to do. Embiid came back into the series, and in the games that he was playing, he was a force. He was a factor. They didn't really have an answer for him or what to do. And like I said before, you combine that with Boston just shooting themselves out of it by just continuously jacking up threes, and you are able to have a series where you come back from 3-1 and take it all. Now, I don't think Boston needs to go super crazy. I don't think they need to like tear anything down, reload some people. When I say that, I hear some people come out and talk about trading Jaylen Brown or, making those big trades. I don't think they need to do all that. I still think they are in a really good position in the East potentially if they can sort of figure out a better way for them to play instead of just jacking up constant threes. But I definitely just wouldn't trade either of the Jasons. I think you're fine with them. I think you are okay. Keep the two stars where they're at. Now, as for the West, I'm starting off the Thunder blew out the Suns. There's really not much that I have even really to say on that one. They Thunder did what they're supposed to do. They are still in the driver's seat, period, when it comes to being title favorites. This is a team that's been here before. This is damn near like their third or fourth year with this core being together. So I'm not shocked at all by how that one went. Uh, yeah. Next up, we have the Lakers against the Rockets. Listen, I don't know what the fuck happened to the Rockets. I don't know if it was the Cade burner account. I don't know if Cade was just masking all these problems and making it impossible for us to see at the time. But was that was pathetic. That is not the way a team that is that's not the way a team going up against a team that is missing their two of their three top performers, and the only one that's left is a 41-year-old man. And aside from that, you've got Luke Kennard and you've got Hachi, and you like they didn't. The Lakers should not have won this series if we are just going based off how things look on paper and based off the way these teams are supposed to be as they were currently constructed. So I don't know what the Rockets do. I think it's been reported already. You probably are going to have to trade KD. I don't know how you bring him back with all of just the noise that has come out with him and his whole like tweets and everything like that. So I I think they've got to make some big changes. You can't go into this next season just running everything back. It's not going to work. Now for the Lakers, this is a team I was believing in the beginning of the season as favorites to be in the finals. So I'm happy with this result. I'm not necessarily surprised by it. I think they're an extremely talented team. LeBron is LeBron. 41 years old. He is still LeBron fucking James. He is still a matchup nightmare, and he's still got it in him to give you a good 25 a night along with everything else. So you combine that, you have Austin Reeves coming back. If Luka is able to come back during this next series, again, I don't think that it's gonna. You got. I'm not. I'll wait till we get there, but it's gonna be hard for them to even stand a chance in this next series. But what they showed in round one, missing two of their top guys, is exactly why I sort of predicted them to be able to be in this position at all. They have a lot of talent on the Lakers. LeBron is a good player. I like JJ Redick as a coach. They don't have it all right now as they're currently constructed. Injuries aren't helping them either, especially when Luka was coming out looking like an MVP before he got hurt. But I just think that, they shouldn't panic too much. We don't know what's going to happen with LeBron at the end of this year after this next series is gone and they're probably done and going home. But I do like what the Lakers have going on. Now, the next series, we have the Nuggets against the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were able to win this series 4-2. Man, oh man, this was a series that I just did not, I couldn't predict. This and the Hawks and New York Knicks series were the two that were just very hard for me to predict. I'm not necessarily shocked by the outcome. I definitely thought the Timberwolves always stood a chance to win. I'm a little surprised by the way the Nuggets showed up, especially in that last game. Jokic just having an off series the entire time, and then Jamal Murray just really just coming out flat in that last game. It does lead me to believe I don't know what is next for the Nuggets in their future. I'm not the again, I just got done talking about it. I'm not the biggest fan of just blowing things up, maybe just like making huge drastic sweep changing maneuvers, but if you're Denver, it can feel like you've done as much as you could with this current core with everybody that they have. So maybe they want to explore it. I would probably just recommend, make sure you think long and hard about that decision because when you're making a decision that big, you have to be certain on. Aside from that, Minnesota is just out of all the teams that I talked about, and I talked about it when I was talking about the East Coast teams that have that playoff experience. Minnesota just they're the top. They are playoff overachievers. If they get into the dance, do not count them out. I'm at that point now, even without Ant being in the lineup for most of the series. This is a team that believed in themselves enough. TJ McDaniels coming out, talking his shit, saying what they were going to do, and then doing it. So you really have got to give Minnesota a lot of credit for the way they showed out and the way they came out and just came prepared to play. They didn't let it even go to 7 games. They closed the shit in 6. I'm a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of what they got going on. If they can get Ant back, this can definitely turn into a very, very surprising run. They were, I'm not going to get into the second series yet, but they are already showing why you never count the Minnesota's Timberwolves out, and they can really shock you. Now, up next, finally, for the first round, we had the Spurs going up against the Trailblazers. They were able to win this series 4-1. The only real reason why I think they even lost the game at all was when Wemby went out with his concussion. Portland was able to take advantage of him being out. I'll say how I thought after I saw that game, and I'll repeat it now. When you have somebody like Wemby who is putting you that much over the top, it's crazy because when you take him away, that series is probably going to be a lot closer. It's probably going to 6 or 7 games, and they're a lot tighter. But when you have Wemby in there, when you have him, it's just a comfortable gentleman's sweep. So yeah, that was the first round. The Spurs came out. They showed their youth because they're a young team. Don't get that confused. But I definitely think that they have proven that they've got the talent to take this all the way. It's just going to come down to whether experience is going to come to bite them in the ass. Now, second round, we've got the Thunder going up against the Lakers. We've got the Timberwolves against the Spurs. We've got the Pistons against the Cavaliers, and we've got the Knicks against the 76ers. We've had 2 series that have already kicked off as of this recording, but I'm going to talk about the 2 that are going to kick off tomorrow first. starting off, we got the Thunder against the Lakers. And it's like I was sort of alluding to, I don't really see a way for the Lakers to get more than a game out of this, especially with Luka out. LeBron is going to be able to do as much as he can. I think maybe there's maybe a game where he turns back the hands of Father Time. Maybe they are able to steal a second game, but I just don't see the Thunder being taken to 7 games. I really find it hard to believe they'd even get taken to 6 by this Lakers roster, especially with Luka out. I just don't. They're just too good. I'm at the point right now with the Thunder, with SGA and the prime of his powers and everything right now. You can hate him for the flopping and all the extra shit as much as you want, but right now he's got it. He's got it. He's got the X factor. The whole team is just on point. I don't really see a way for the Lakers to really stand a chance against this. It feels inevitable what we're going to be heading towards in the Western Conference Finals. And I would have really believed that for the other half of this equation. Now we're talking about the Timberwolves and Spurs. I'm going to just talk about the West Coast period first. But after game one, where the Timberwolves were able to steal a game in San Antonio, now the home field advantage has been taken out of it. This is no guarantee. Don't be shocked. Don't be surprised because, like I said, when it comes down to that playoff experience and, having been there before, the Timberwolves have an edge in that department way over the Spurs. Now, I still believe that the Spurs' talent and Wemby, that they're going to sort of figure it out and be able to, take this series home. I'm probably going to say it's going to go to 6 now, but don't be shocked if the Timberwolves are able to pull this off. I'm not going to be surprised if Ant comes back. He's already came back on game one on minutes restriction. It's like I said, it's just coming down to experience. It's just coming down to having been there before. I just don't really find it smart to bet against Minnesota. We've already seen what happened when people were counting them out in the first series when they were down to Denver. I'm not doing it again. I'm not going to count against them, especially when they're going up against a really young team with a young superstar who this is his first real playoff run. I'm not going to hold it against Wemby if they were to fall in this round. I'm not gonna think that that means that he was overhyped, that he didn't deserve all the praise he's been getting this season. All it would mean is that they just ran into a team that was built for this moment, that was built to overcome them as they currently construct. But like I said before, we shall see. It's all going to come down to, in my opinion, whether Wemby can fully stay healthy. Now, moving on to the East, we had the Knicks going up against the 76ers. The Knicks were able to blow their asses out last night. I want to say it was 138-98. Brunson was offensive dynamo. He was on fire. It was at home. And the 76ers, I'm going to try to maybe give them the little, I don't know. I don't really know what else to really say. It was coming, they came out a little bit flat. Embiid didn't have his best performance. So it's going to be interesting to see how that series goes. I don't think that it's going to be blowouts all the way, but we shall see. I'm probably going to pick the Knicks to take that series in about 6 games, but we shall see. Now, the one that I am having the most trouble trying to really figure out in my head is the Pistons against the Cavaliers, and I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how this one is going to go because the Pistons just came out and nearly shit the bed against the 8th seed in the Orlando Magic. And on the other hand, we've got the Cavaliers, who I know in the back of my head, I am just waiting for the moment that James Harden shits the bed completely. Hell, him and Donovan Mitchell just shit the bed, and like the Cavaliers they get booted. I see this being another tight series. I don't know if I see it going to 7, but I see it going to at least 6. And I'm inclined just because I believe in Cade. I believe in Cade, and I believe that if James Harden and Donovan Mitchell were to completely disappear like they should, I believe in Detroit's ability to get the job done against them. So I'm leaning towards picking Detroit here. I think they're going to be able to reach an Eastern Conference Finals. I don't like either team against the Knicks if things were to get that depending on whoever gets there. But yeah, all things considered, this is not a game where I have any real faith in the 2 stars on the Cavaliers to be able to like take them home. Like I said, James Harden, you're just waiting for him to really shit the bed and disappear, to fuck up. And Donovan Mitchell is so topsy-turvy. He just does enough during the regular season and every now and then to remind you why he's an all-star. But I feel like he is the definition of a B-plus superstar. So I'm leaning towards the Pistons. I think that they maybe just needed to go ahead and get those struggles out of them in the first round. But even though I don't, like I said it when I was talking about the Pistons against the Magic series at first. This has convinced me that this is not their year to actually win the title. But I still say that I'm going to pick the Pistons over the Cavaliers to actually get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But yeah, that has been how I felt about this whole first round of the playoffs. It has been some very fun basketball to watch, and I am super excited to continue watching going into the second round. But I would love to hear what you all have to say about it. So, with all that being said, make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Telling you again, but also make sure you comment. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what your predictions are. If you were a fan of what LeBron was out there doing, I want to hear about it. If you were a fan of what the Thunder are out here doing, I want to hear about it. If you think it's funny how the Rockets fucked up again and how KD has went to, I want to say this is his fourth straight stop and it ended up in a toxic way, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about all your basketball thoughts. So let me know. But with all that being said, this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. This has been a review of the first round of the playoffs and a preview for the second round. And above all else, this has just been another good weekly edition of Sports Talk. So, above all else, make sure you tell your friends and family you love them. Make sure you drink lots of water. Make sure you continue to be the best version of yourself. And make sure you just continue to tune in and check out Kinetic Aesthetic. Because we'll be right back tomorrow with a review of Isaiah Rashad's new album. But this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. This has been your boy Germ. I'm out.